What's going on, guys? It's PJ from Essential Guy Talk, and we are back live tonight. And once again, I promise you this time, we have Sam Alvey from the UFC coming on live with us tonight, just shortly after 9 o'clock. So I'm coming on now, getting things ready. Sam has confirmed he is definite for tonight. So I'm going to start sharing it out in the next 5 minutes, and we'll get started as soon as Sam is ready. But he's definite for tonight, so we're going to have some fun with him. So good to see everybody hopping on in. I appreciate all of the support all the time that I go live. And we're going to have a great interview tonight. I've got some 1792 bourbon whiskey, some small barrel that I'm going to enjoy because you always have to have a drink on the Essential Guy Talk show. Unless you're cutting weight and you're an MMA fighter, so he's not going to have anything to drink, but he'll enjoy through me. So I'm going to send this out to some different MMA groups, and we'll get everybody in. And then we will start with Sam in just about 5 minutes. So everybody let me know in the comments what you guys want to talk about, and we'll make sure we ask questions pertaining to the things that you guys want to know. So just give me a few minutes. I'm going to sit here just for a few and send it out, and then we are getting started. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Daniel Fraley, Adam Kaleo, Devin Sargent. Share it on out on your timelines. Let everybody know that we're going to be starting in about 5 minutes. What's going on, Alex? Good to see you, Ross. So I'm going to invite Sam now. And as soon as he pops on in, we'll have some fun. All right, here we go. Hopefully he'll pop on in just a moment. All right, so I've shared it out with some groups now. Seeing the numbers going up. What's up, Jeremy? Tim, what's going on, buddy? In just a little while, we're going to get Sam Alvey live with us, talking all things MMA, but specifically about his fight that's going on this weekend, UFC 131. Hey, PJ, how's it going? It's going great, man. Having a great time. It's always fun here at Essential Guy Talk. Tony Amodio, what's going on, brother? So we're going live in just a little bit with Sam Alvey. He's over on the West Coast. It's about 6 o'clock his time out there. I confirmed with him about an hour ago. He said he was definite for tonight. So in just a few minutes, he'll be hopping on in, and then we can get started. Looks like he just hopped online. So we should see him in a few minutes. All right, so it looks like Sam is just a moment away from connecting. So as soon as he hops in, we'll start this interview. Sam Alvey is now watching, so he'll be in just a minute. There he is. What's up, Sam? Do you need me to resend through the invite? Here we go. He's connecting. All right, here he comes, guys. So once again, the one and only Sam Alvey, Smile'N Sam Alvey from the UFC, was a fighter in the 185 division. Now it's 205, and he's doing a great job so far. So we're adding him. What's up, Smile'N Sam? Good to see you, buddy.
Hello, my friend. How are you?
Thank you very much for showing up tonight. Just kidding.
Yeah. Sorry so much for blowing you off yesterday.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Glad to finally see you. So how's training been going for the big fight?
Oh, I had a really good camp. A lot of guys came out to help me. Did a lot of work with Sokoju this time, just to have
Nice.
that 205 feel and the big kicks and everything. And he didn't hurt me, so that's probably a step in the right
That's
direction.
a good thing. It's a good thing. So my brother trained out there with Sokoju for a while, so I'm familiar with that camp and what goes on out there. Sokoju's such a nice guy.
Oh, he's great. He's the scariest looking guy that's ever fought, but he is just about the nicest guy.
Just about the nicest guy, because I hear you're one of the nicest guys too.
Yeah, everyone keeps saying it's between me and Sage, so we'll have to have a nice off someday.
Right? You'll have a nice off between you and Sage. So, Sam, for all the people that are tuning in that don't know much about your background, tell me a little bit about where you started off your training, what part of the country, and where you've kind of moved around to.
Yeah, so I started off in Wisconsin, Manitowoc, Wisconsin. And I didn't have my own gym, but I was kind of the head instructor of somebody else's gym. Paul Metz, wonderful guy. Still, I don't talk to him nearly as much as I probably should, but I see him on Facebook every now and then. Had a great gym back there, worked there for about 4 years, and I was just beating everyone in Wisconsin, so I had to make the move. And it was actually my wife that pushed me out the door, girlfriend at the time. She picked the school, picked how I was going to get there, and sent me on my way. And I've
That's
never
a
looked
good
back.
woman right there.
Oh, she's great. She's great. It was between there and Coconut Creek, ATT down in Coconut Creek. And honestly, Team Quest answered the email first. So we went Team Quest.
That's an awesome way to decide. The person that wants you quickest, they're the people that get you.
Yep. Yeah, that was we kind of drove south, and when they answered, we took a right.
That's awesome, man. So how many years have you been professional now at this point?
Shoot, you guys probably know better than me. It's either 10 or 11. It's somewhere in there.
I think your first professional fight, yeah, it looks like 2008. So you are coming up on that 10-year anniversary. Actually, July 19th, next month, 10 years.
Oh, wow. And I had my first amateur fight maybe 6 or 7 months before that. So
yeah, August 11th, 2007. That's what Sherdog says.
Oh, well, look at that.
There you go, man. You've been beasting it for over a decade.
Was it Josh Wagner? Was that his name?
It was John Eldridge.
That's not who I remember. Oh,
no, it says John Eldridge and then Josh Wagner.
That's right. Yeah, Josh Wagner. I remember that fight. I didn't know what the UFC was at the time. I never watched it. Wasn't a boxing fan. Never did karate or anything like that. And I showed up, and they said, "All right, well, your guy's not here, so you're gonna fight this guy." And this guy, I swear to God, he was 410 pounds. And it was not lean meat. I said, "Oh, I'll do that." My dad told me, he said, "All right, you have two options. You have to run away from him or go right at him." And so
basically, you can't just stand around and wait for him to wallop you. You got to go at him.
Yeah, went at him and knocked him out in 12 seconds.
That's a beautiful thing. Win. Nice. Yeah. So now you've got 42 fights in the professional ranks now. That's a pretty impressive number.
Yeah, I've got 40. What was it? 32 wins, right?
32 and 10, right?
9. I don't count one of those losses. I got.
I like it. Yeah, you're 9.
Yeah.
Nine works for me too.
Yeah. Then I had 2 no contest, counting what is 10 but isn't 10.
Yeah. Very good. So when you were growing up, who were some of your idols? You said you didn't really watch UFC or MMA before you got into it?
Even after I got into it, I didn't watch it until I don't know. Until I was 4-0 as a professional. Then I probably started watching something around there. And
Yeah.
even then, not religiously. It was on, so watch that now. Now I'm addicted to it. But
Yeah.
idols growing up, I mean, it was like the Ninja Turtles, Jackie Chan, and my dad. That was about it.
Nice. I mean, watching you, it just seems like you're having so much fun. I mean, the smile's obvious, it's infectious. Everybody smiles because they're watching you. But just in general, it looks like you're loving what you're doing. Am I right in assuming that?
Yeah, I love this sport. I mean, as much as I didn't grow up with it, I've grown into it, and that's good. I've never said that before. I'm gonna start saying that everywhere, though. Uh, 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 and I love this
You
sport. I
coined a new
love.
phrase here in the Essential Guide
Yeah,
Talk Show.
didn't grow up with it, but I grew into it. I should make a shirt with that.
I
Um,
like it, man. I'll buy that shirt right away. You make it with Smile'N Sam Alvey's face on it. I got it.
yeah. But yeah, I love what I do. I love what it lets me do. I joke with everyone. I said the reason I'm a fighter is I never have to wear shoes, and that may not be the whole reason, but that's I mean that sums up
It's a
my
damn
life.
good
I
one.
never have to wear shoes, and I've been blessed because of it.
That's awesome. I mean, I'm in the entertainment industry because I hate a 9 to 5 job and I like to go out and socialize and have fun. So if you can make that your career, what you love and you're good at, it's the best job you can ever ask for.
Yeah, and I would have never guessed that this was it, but it is, and I'm in it. I'm in it forever. Dan Henderson, I think he retired when he was 47, so I'm hoping to make it to 47 in a day. That's
I think you're gonna do it.
I can hold that over him a little bit.
Yep. So what pushed you up to 205? Was it just opportunities? Was it that quick turnaround fight where it was short notice and you signed on to do that? What were you thinking it the whole time you wanted to go to 205?
No, I asked for an 85 fight, and they said they didn't have anything till April. So I was asking around December, and so I said, "All right, I'll fight at 205 if you have something sooner." And they said, "Okay, we have a 205 fight for you." I said, "Okay, I'll take it." And then they said, "Okay, well, this is the guy's name." I said, "Oh, I
Nah.
probably do need to know that."
Yeah.
And so I got to fight in February down in Orlando, and the weight cut was fantastic. I've always been a bigger middleweight
Yeah.
and light heavyweight. I'm not a big light heavyweight, as we'll see when I'm fighting Gian, but I'm not a small light heavyweight either. So the weight cuts I'm liking.
Well, so far fighting Marcin, you showed that you hit like a 205er.
Years ago when I was in Wisconsin, I fought at 205 for most of it because I didn't know anything. That's what I walked around at, so that's what I'd fight at. And it just kind of eventually I did a tournament with a buddy of mine who was bigger than me, but so he went 205. Said, "Okay, I'll cut so we don't have to fight each other," and that's where I went to 85, and I stuck around there for a minute.
So what do you walk around at?
About 230. Even when I'm fighting at 85, I'm about 230.
Wow, so that's a big cut for you then. That 85 cut's gonna be rough.
And if anyone's seen me fight, they all know I'm not the leanest fighter that's ever been. So, but I between camps, I love lifting. That's when I went to college. Before I started fighting any of that, I had intended on becoming a gym owner. I wanted to own a lifting gym. I wanted to have that kind of career. So I'd been a personal trainer. I'd always loved lifting. So between camps, I lift and I get as big as I can. And that's it. That's the other nice thing about being light heavyweight is I can lift a little longer into my camp because I don't have to worry about the weight cut so much.
Yeah, 205, you can lift for a couple weeks longer than you would be able to otherwise, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So do you think that you're home now for the foreseeable future is 205, or are you still willing and able to go down to 185 if something presents itself?
I'm still willing and able. I don't want to, but I'm still willing and able to go back down to 85. And honestly, I've never said no to a fight, so if the UFC were to ask me to, I'd say yes. But I'm kind of hoping they don't ask me to. I've been saying my 185 time was to make a name for myself. I tied the record for most fights in a year. I had back to back. Got some big knockouts, knocked out some studs, had some good fights. But my 205 is going to be my title run. So my fights are going to have a purpose. I'm going to be aiming for something, and I'm not going to accept anything on stupid notice if I don't have to.
I agree. I think you deserve it at this point, man. You've been a workhorse. You have busted your ass for a number of years in the UFC, and I'd love to see a title run, man. I've been a fan for years, so to be able to talk with you now, I appreciate it. Thanks so much for coming on and giving us some time.
Oh, it's
But yeah,
really.
I'm rooting for you.
What's that?
205. I say I'm rooting for you. 205, I think, is a beautiful home for you.
I love it. All my teammates, they don't call me Sam anymore. It's 205 Sam, because
Nice.
it's a lot different for them to roll with me, to do anything with me. I get to muscle them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you're not so sucked out from that weight cut. You're not having to go, and zap yourself up almost 50 pounds sometimes.
Hmm.
That's brutal, man. So 35 pounds or so, or 30, 25, something like that. That's a nice cut for you.
It's great. It's just a good diet. For 8 weeks, I can have a good diet and decent cut at the end. I don't have to kill myself. At 85, I had to go down. Although I did find it funny. My last fight at 205, I walked into the octagon lighter than when I fought at 185.
That's strange. Because you didn't have to crazy rehydrate and dump a whole
Yeah,
bunch of liquid back into you. You didn't gain that much weight after the weigh-in, I guess.
yeah. So this cut, I'm trying a little different to go back into the cage a little heavier than I did last time, but I felt good at 205. I felt good at 85, and so maybe if I'm stuck at that weight, I'll be happy with it too.
How did the gas tank feel at 205? Did it feel better than it was at 185?
I don't know. I ended the fight in the first round. I didn't get a chance to test.
That's true. That's true. You didn't have to go into deep waters.
I hope I don't have to test it this fight either.
I hope you don't either, man. I hope it's nice and quick.
Yeah.
So now, who are you training with currently?
Dan Henderson's his gym, so he's still in there. So could you was in there. Chris Curtis, Sean Strickland, Alex Thompson, Jared Van Vandera. A lot of those guys, and they're all, well, Curtis is smaller than me, but the other guys are all my size or maybe a little bigger. Jared's a lot
So
bigger.
Christopher Curtis is out there training with you guys right now, right? Getting ready for that Dana White Contender Series.
Yeah. He's got. I fight on the 1st. He fights on the 12th. So you guys will see me on that camera too.
Yeah, hell yeah. And he said he's coming on next week. I'm going to chat with him as well.
Oh,
I
really
mean, my
good.
personal opinion is that he should be in the UFC already. But
Yeah, I think so too. He got like, I have that one fight that I don't count as a loss. I just home cooking. I went over to New Zealand and they just robbed me. It was ridiculous. Anyways, he had a fight and he beat the tar out of this guy for 5 rounds, beat him up. It wasn't close. I walked away from the TV before the decision. They gave it to the other guy. What
wow.
I am sure of, and Chris is sure of, and the promoters are pretty sure of, is that the judges confused who was who because they looked fairly similar.
Really?
And since
That's
that fight,
that's absolutely abysmal. If you can not get the call right because they look similar, that's devastating to somebody.
If you watch the fights, what's the guy's name? Yeah, whatever the guy's name is. It's his last loss. Curtis is really on like a 9-fight winning streak right now with that thrown in the middle of it. And if you watch that fight, he beat the brakes off him for five rounds. Slowed down a little in the 5th, but still won the round and just dominated the other 4.
Curtis is he's a boxing base, right? So he's got some really good hands.
He does, and footwork and movement, and he sets up his combos beautifully. His jiu-jitsu is really good too. He just never has to show up because his hands are so good.
Yeah, he never really gets to the ground too much. But I mean, if he gets into the UFC, it's inevitable he will get to the ground and get to showcase some of that other stuff because it's just the way the UFC is. How is your ground game? I want to know.
It's great. I wrestled in college and high school. I've been working with Dan for years. I'm hopefully I never have to use it, but I'm a pretty good wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, eventually you might have to stuff a couple takedowns and things like that, but they might be shooting in on you because you're slugging them too hard.
It's usually what happens.
Yeah. Awesome. So, you have 14 fights in the UFC now, so this is no small sample size. You've been fighting for years in the UFC. If I'm correct, I think it's 14, 15, something like that.
Yeah, I'm either 14 or 15. I thought I was at 15, and this was going to be my 16th, but now I'm not sure. Because I thought I was getting a Reebok bonus. I thought I was going up to $5,000 in Reebok.
You better pay you that Reebok bonus if it's 15. So What's up with Reebok? Are they going to renew with them, or what's the deal?
You're asking the wrong guy. I don't know. I'm going to represent Reebok as best I can, and
Yeah.
I enjoy the product. I enjoy all the money they've given me.
Yeah.
You know, you got to think they've given me a lot of money, so I appreciate that. I appreciate what they've done for the sport, and if they do, I'd be happy, and if they don't, I'll figure out what's next for me.
Where do you make your home when you're, just chilling out?
Lake Elsinore, California, Southern California. I just bought my first home about a year ago, and yeah,
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I'm can't wait to get out of California, but I love where I'm at.
Yeah.
I love the people I'm doing with. I love my home. But 5-6 years, I've only got 5-6 years of California left in me.
Yeah. So once you're done training and fighting, then you think you'll slide on out of California.
I'm gonna say after I've won the title, I'll probably slide on out. It'll be a good time to start my own gym with that title hanging on the wall.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Where do you want to make your home when it's not in California? Do you want to go back to Wisconsin?
No, the one thing I really like about California is they don't have winter, and Wisconsin's winters are getting longer and longer. So we're not really sure. Every time we travel somewhere, we look at it and we really judge it. Right now, Tennessee, even though I can't seem to win a fight in Tennessee, I love the state. That Nashville area was just beautiful. That's
Nice.
high in our rankings. We kind of honestly, we're gonna look at where there's no income tax. I don't want an income tax, and I want low every other tax. The exact opposite of California.
Yeah, you want to keep your money. You don't want to give it away.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
So you're thinking about opening up a school that's your long-term type of feel after you win that belt. So do you work with kids now? Do you train kids?
Yeah. At my gym, Dan Henderson's Athletic Fitness Center. I'm I say the head MMA instructor, but that's a little misleading because I do teach some of the pros, but my primary function is kids and teenagers, and the younger adults, the amateur adults too. And I love working with them. I've been at Quest for 7 years. I've been working with them for 6 years, and I just love it.
Keith Schillian said, ask him who is more famous, him or a supermodel wife.
Oh, dropping my phone.
That'll make you drop your phone.
I would have thought me at this point, but still no. That show, I never realized how big that stupid show was. America's Next Top Model. It was freaking huge. She goes around the world. She'll go to Australia, Brazil, Mexico, wherever, and people recognize her from that show. And it was 7 years ago, 10 years ago, however long ago that show was. It was just insane how big
puts
that
things
show
in perspective, doesn't it, Sam?
You're
busting your butt, and she's definitely more popular.
Every now and then, though, she'll get people that recognize her from cornering me. So that's kind of a flag in both of our hats.
Nice. Very cool. Very good, man. So I want to ask you a few questions about what happened this weekend. I know there was some controversy in the Till decision, Till versus Wonder Boy. What were your feelings on that fight?
I was sitting out here at a bar watching with a bunch of the UFC staff, and we were watching, and we were kind of poking fun at the fight the whole time because it really wasn't a great fight. We kept hoping it would be. We were looking for that knockout or a little change in pace, but it never came. We at the bar had Till winning, but honestly, none of us really cared by the end of the fight.
I hear you.
It was what it was. So if they say Wonder Boy won, there were a couple of rounds that were really close that I just edged to Till, and that he ended up winning was understandable.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a chess match, and we say that a lot with Wonder Boy with his fights lately because he is such a quick in and out moving guy, and his aim is to make you miss and then counter off of it. So it kind of stalemated what Till does typically, which is that guerrilla mentality of coming forward and just throwing haymakers. And I think Till would have gotten himself in bad shape if he did play into his hand that way and he threw those big bombs. I think he would have gotten clipped by a kick or something. So it was smart, intelligent fighting, but it might not have been the most exciting to watch.
Yeah, Wonder Boy, I made the comparison. He's kind of like Maya. He's such a good striker that people are scared of it. Where Maya is such a good wrestler or grappler, people are scared of him. It tends to make people fight like they're scared a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the way I took it from Till was not that he was very nervous and scared, but more he was aware that if I overcommit, I'm getting caught. And this is a young 25-year-old kid. I thought he fought way more intelligent than I gave him credit for. And I'm a huge Till fan. I've been a Till fan for a couple of years. So I did not expect that. I expected him to come out like a bull and throw bombs. And that wouldn't have been the most intelligent thing to do against Wonder Boy.
Yeah, I expected it too. Before the fight, I picked Wonder Boy to win. My DraftKings had Wonder Boy. And I liked Till. I met him when I fought over in Poland. Such a nice guy. He was just great. And but I thought stylistically Wonder Boy was going to win that fight, and I was wrong.
I mean, that's the beauty of MMA right now.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no given in this sport whatsoever. You could take the biggest underdog, and there is an opportunity to win. I mean, AKA Sarah from, 12, 14 years ago now, clipping GSP and then putting them away. I mean, that's not something that you would predict or think is a possibility, but it just shows, man, anything goes in this sport.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I love the sport so much.
Right. So after you fight Jean, do you have a target, or do you not even think about that until you're done?
No, I usually play with the idea all week long. I'll make the final decision after I win. It's kind of, but I've got it narrowed down to a couple of guys.
Nice. Somebody in the top 10 or top 15?
You're gonna have to watch and find out.
I'm going to. No, I was hoping you were going to say that. You're not going to give it away.
I get that hand. Let everyone know who I want to fight next.
Hell yeah! You could say, "What's up, Essential Guy Talk?" Dude, it's been such a pleasure talking with you for a little bit. Once again, we are talking with Sam Alvey, current UFC fighter, the man, the myth, the legend. We absolutely love you in MMA Freaks. I know that you participate in that group, so let's talk about them for just a little while. It's a unique group, man. I've been in a lot of MMA groups. I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people, but it always goes south quick in the other groups. And I feel like, for the most part, this one stays pretty topical, stays pretty focused on trying to talk, some knowledgeable MMA. So that's pretty fun. Do you like that group?
Yeah, I do. And I comment on it all the time. It's like, I think I comment on that more than I comment on anything else. I'm always talking on that one.
I see you popping up all the time.
Yeah, I think I'm also on a Betting Sharks website too, or Facebook page, or martial arts, but MMA Sharks something or other. But they switched the way they bet now, and I can't figure out how to use their betting system. So,
you need a tutorial on how to bet on their own damn site.
Yeah, they switched it up. They made it far easier for everyone but me. I can't figure it out.
So, one of the legends of the last 10 to 12 years, Michael Bisping, just retired. So I was going to ask you, what are your feelings on that? Do you have a good thought and feeling toward Michael Bisping and his run in the UFC?
Yeah, Bisping, he grew on me. When he lost that fight to Matt Hamill, I said, I hate this guy. He's going to rob like that, and then you rob someone like that and then claim he won. Ridiculous. But he's really grown on me. He's good for the sport. He was always an entertaining fighter, always entertaining on the mic too. And so he really did grow on me. And now I'm sorry. I'm not sorry to see him leave. He had a great career, and I couldn't expect him to do any more. But I'm happy to have watched his career.
I feel the same way, man. I mean, early on when I was watching him on Tough, I didn't know what to expect out of this guy. He was a brash English dude that would just talk so much shit, and you were like, is he going to be a flash in the pan, or is he going to be somebody who lasts? And the more he would keep coming back and just show that work ethic that he has, the more he grew on me too. And I'm impressed with his career from start to finish. When you look at how many fights he's got in the UFC, how many times he's fought people, legends of the sport, win or lose, I mean, you got to tip your hat to Michael Bisping.
Yeah, I really do. The I do. He's done it all. I don't know if I would have bet on him winning the belt, but he did it. He took an opportunity and short notice and took full advantage of it against one of the best middleweights the sport's ever had. He's a very talented fighter, a very hardworking athlete, and you know what? At least I'm happy I'll get to see him commentate. I like him commentating too.
Yeah, I think he's perfect for that role. I mean, he wants to be talking, so give him that role. Let him hold the microphone and talk on the sidelines. He's very intelligent about the sport, and he's witty too. I mean, everybody thinks, he just has that mouth that keeps going, but I think he's such a personality. It's so entertaining for me as a viewer to listen to what Michael Bisping has to say, even if I think he's, too brash and too much sometimes. I love it. I think it's funny.
Yeah, he is. He is. I think he's way better on a mic than Conor McGregor is.
Yeah, you think so?
I do. I don't like Conor McGregor. I like what he's done and all that. He's good for the sport, blah, blah, blah. But
blah, blah, blah.
He sounds like a knob when he's on that mic. I mean, no class, no intelligence behind it. He just, I'm better than everyone, and fuck you.
And fuck you. I make no bones about it that I was a Conor McGregor fan. I can say I still support him as a fighter, but man, the past year or two has really rubbed me the wrong way as a fan in general. Now, I'll keep watching his fights because he's entertaining. He puts on a good show when he fights. You don't think so? I kind of feel the same way too. I think it's all marketing for him to do his other ventures, just to put it out there like he still may come back and just to try and keep his name in the press. But this whole Dolly situation might have just been the end for me, man. It was the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
It really was. It was terrible. But you know what? It's not. He's never struck me as the most intelligent fighter on the planet. And him throwing a dolly at a bus full of cameras and fighters didn't surprise me.
It's kind of par for the course, when you know Conor McGregor. Yeah.
He's got, I was thinking, he won so much money in his boxing fight that everyone on that bus could have sued him, and he could have paid all of them $1 million each just to not sue him. And he would have had, $1 million left over. So he has nothing to fear from anyone. No reason to ever fight again. And I've only been right twice on picking his fights. I always pick against him. I was right on the first Diaz fight, and I was right on the second Diaz fight. Other than that, I've been wrong every time.
I like him because I've been right almost every time with him. I was wrong on the Diaz fight, but every other fight, I own his walkout shirt from, back in the UFC fight night days when he was fighting on the free cards. So I love that personality of somebody that just had so much confidence in himself that, he believed more than anyone else believed. But it did wear on me. As a fan, enough is enough. I think if you bring it out on occasion, and you show that type of personality, but you also show another side, that keeps people guessing what they're going to get when they hear a Conor McGregor interview. And I think other than getting beat, where's his humility? He never has any humble kind of, statements to say other than when he gets beat.
Yeah. We've only seen him beat twice, Mayweather and Diaz. Honestly, he took the defeat well. I didn't think he ran his mouth after that. But, he's no humility outside of those two.
Yeah. So that's, I think, why I flock to Darren Till, because he's got a similar personality, but I don't think he's as overboard and over the top as Conor is, at least yet. But, who knows? You smell a little bit of success, and then all of a sudden you get that head like you just can't be beaten. So I'm excited about Till's future, too, but we'll see. Who knows in this sport, man? Next fight, he could get embarrassed by somebody and go right to the back of the line.
Dude, it's Usman is probably his next fight. It's the fight that makes the most sense. That's a scary fight for anyone.
Tough. That's real tough. Usman he's one of the best wrestlers in any division. So you're going to go up against him. You better be able to show something else other than a big left hand. He better be able to stuff some takedowns.
Yeah, or you better land it early.
Right. Yeah, or make it quick, like you fighting Marcin. A minute and change and out.
Hopefully.
Yes, hopefully again this weekend. So once again, dude, we are talking with the one and only Smile'N Sam Alvey. Anybody that's just tuning in, he is a current UFC fighter, fought at 185. Now he's fighting 205. He's fighting this weekend against Jean Vellante. What are some thoughts about your opponent? What do you think you need to look out for?
You know what? He hits hard. I mean, he's got one of the biggest crosses in the division. And a lot of people don't realize that he's a good wrestler. I've seen some fights of his where he just, takes him down at will. And then I watch how well he defended so many takedowns for Pat Cummings and Latifi. He's a good wrestler with some power. So he's really a scary opponent. But more than anything, he might be the funniest guy in the UFC. He's just great. I love him outside of the cage. And hopefully we can be friends after the fight.
That's what's so beautiful about MMA to me as well. You guys can fight and get in the ring, get in the cage, and you can do what you need to do. And then as soon as you're over, 9 times out of 10, there's no more ill will, unless there were some really nasty things said before the fight that you just can't get past until you fight again. But for the most part, there's so much respect in the sport, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's easy to, you have to, because anyone can beat you up. You don't want to disrespect the wrong guy.
That's it, man. And at the end of the day, you may be fighting one of his training partners or another person that's connected with him in the gym. And, you never know who you're going to come up and cross in the next 6 months to a year. So I think you're better off just playing the respectable game anyway. But speaking of non-professional, non-respectful people, what do you think of Colby Covington? What's up with this dude?
What a douchebag. Try and ruin Star Wars for people. It's ridiculous. He's lucky I'm not 155, 170?
Yeah.
Whatever.
You'd explode his head if you punched him.
He's lucky I'm not that weight. He's a little guy, and he's got little guy syndrome. With Napoleon
he does.
Complex.
The whole trying to ruin Star Wars might have been one of the most screwed up things I've ever seen, because he's going to ruin it for his own fans too. His fans that are watching and reading. Now he's ruining it for them.
And then he tried to ruin Infinity War. See, I got to see the midnight showing of everything. Otherwise, he ruins it, or tries to. I don't follow him on Twitter or anything, but as soon as he tweets it, everyone puts it on Facebook.
It's people sharing it in the groups that I've got trouble with, because I don't follow him, but I know that there's a lot of people that I associate with that follow. So I look on my timeline and I've got a Colby Covington tweet about Star Wars. And immediately I got to close it, because I'm like, I know this is something bad. I know it's something that he's trying to ruin for everybody.
Yeah, it is. And it's Connor would do it. Chael would do it. The Diaz brothers do it. They'll be like over the top, annoying and loud. But then they have these fights that make, you either want to see him win or you want to see him lose, and they've got good. Right. He doesn't have that. He does all this stuff to piss people off, and I don't get the sense that anybody wants to watch him fight, win or lose.
Yeah. The RDA fight, I do want to watch, because I think RDA is going to tear through him. That's just my personal opinion. I think at 170, RDA is a killer, and I think that he's in bad shape for this fight. But if I'm wrong, hat tip to him.
I'm going to watch it because I like RDA, but I'd watch it if RDA was fighting a pillow. I just like watching him fight. Yeah, RDA looks so much healthier at 170. He looks like he's 100% of himself at that weight. I think at 155, he was fighting at like 80 or 90%. He was too sucked out, and it just looked like it took too much out of him. Do you agree? Yeah. Even though he won the title down there.
That's what I'm saying. He was able to pull it out without maybe being at 100%. But these performances that he's had in the past 4 or 5 times in the cage, I've been blown away with. He's been terrific.
Yeah, he really has, and top notch. He's beaten the best. So I look forward to him getting his title shot.
Who are some of the current fighters that you find yourself always wanting to watch when they're on?
Darren Till's definitely one. I love watching Darren Till. Latifi. I like watching Latifi too. Anytime he's on, and he's kind of come out of nowhere for me. I've always been buddies with Vince, and we always end up fighting on the same card. He and I, the funny stat, he and I cannot win on the same card together. It just can't happen. It's either going to be him or me. We've lost.
So you got to make sure that you never sign on to a card that he's on, because you're pulling for him, so you don't want him to win before you.
And I think that Latifi card, I think it was a short notice fight that he signed up for. Because I had the fight coming, and then he signed up short notice, I believe. So I like watching him. Rockhold. I like watching Rockhold. I don't know if he's new enough for your question, but like I said, he's probably the most talented middleweight in the UFC. And
Is he going to come back and fight again?
What's that?
Is he going to fight again? I mean, he's got a modeling career, and that seems to be where his mind is at for the most part.
You know what? Pick your fights. I hope he doesn't fight at 205 because he will be put to sleep at 205. But at middleweight, right, he'll be great.
Yeah, I don't think at 205 he can hang because his jaw is suspect at 185 at times. So, the 205 would be trouble.
He just fights with that chin so far. He's so much taller than everyone at 85. Fights with that chin up there. It's hard for people to make contact. You go to 205 and everyone's his height and they hit harder. So that
Lauren Bermudez is watching right now. She said Dennis Bermudez is my cuz, Dennis the Menace. Nice. Dennis, yeah, Lauren lives in New Jersey.
Dennis is a ton of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy just seems like he's a good dude, a lot of fun. And, man, he's a workhorse. He's another one in that division that just – he never stops. You keep seeing him pop up, and he keeps beating everybody, but he just can't get over the hurdle, the big hurdle at the top.
Yeah.
So other than those guys that you mentioned, anybody else that you really enjoy?
My buddy Sean Strickland, love watching him fight. He's just
a
buddy.
For sure.
Especially Yoder, I like watching her fight. She's my buddy. Chris Curtis, love watching him fight. He's my buddy. He just a lot. I love watching my friends fight more than I like watching anything.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm pulling so hard for Chris Curtis. I hope that he does big things on Tuesday the 12th, and then propels himself into the UFC and does big things going forward.
He's putting in the work. I tell you, he's putting in the work. If there's a betting line, bet on him.
Oh, I am. I'm seeing if there is, and if there is, I'm putting some money on Curtis for sure. So once again, guys, we are talking with the man, Smile'N Sam Alvey. 185. Now he's fighting 205. He's got a fight this weekend. UFC Fight Night 131. This is at the Adirondack Bank Center in Utica, New York. So you're right by me, man. I'm in New Jersey. If I didn't have a wedding this weekend, I'm a DJ weddings, like 50 weddings a year. So unfortunately, this is my busy time. So unfortunately, I can't get out there. But, man, I was hoping I could. If I was open, I was there.
Oh, there was actually a wedding at this hotel last weekend. I got to sit in the corner at. It was just happening in the hotel and Utica, and just sat in the corner and watched the wedding. It was fun.
That's awesome, and nobody's gonna tell Smile'N Sam to get out. Iron Mike Barnett says, "Ask Sam if he likes watching me fight."
Oh, you know it. Oh, I don't think I've ever seen you fight. Oh, he's wanted to, but you always.
You've seen him train, right? He's trained with you guys every once in a while.
Yeah, watching him train, I can only imagine. I mean, he's mean in training. I can only imagine how mean he'd be in that cage. He just got to fight.
Yeah, he got screwed over a little bit this past weekend. He had a Gulf Coast Fighting Alliance fight, and a half hour before the fight's ready to go off, the insurance was never filed correctly for the promoter, and the entire card got completely squashed, and he was going to fight for the title.
Well, at least everyone got screwed, not just him.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, you have to do all that work and do all the weight cut, and then an hour before you're supposed to fight, you're told that insurance isn't filed correctly. That's awful.
That is bad.
I was as mad as he was. I was texting him back just going, this is absolutely insane. Are you kidding me? You didn't fight because of insurance?
I've never had that happen.
Yeah, thankfully, right?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite all-time UFCer?
My favorite all-time, well, I have to say Dan Henderson, or he'll beat me up.
That's what I was hoping you'd say.
If I had to pick a second favorite, I love Anderson Silva. He's as far away from my style of fighter as there's ever been, and he's just the best that's ever been. Rashad Evans, he's probably number 3. I've always liked watching him fight.
Rashad, man, he was one that had to grow on me. During the Ultimate Fighter show and shortly after, he was just so grating on me as far as his personality. And then all of a sudden it just clicked. And I said, you know what? The dude's really good. And he believes it, and he's insanely good. So let's start believing it with him. And as soon as I got on the same page with him, I started rooting for him. But when he was tweaking his nipples at the beginning of fights, man, I was like, what is this guy doing? This guy is out of his mind.
Jardine, they had a thing.
Yeah, they definitely had a thing, that's for sure. That made me laugh so hard that that was what they were doing before fights. But yeah, Hendo, he's one of the best, man. He's just such a workhorse. That dude will go out and fight anybody. He'll beat anybody. I loved him growing up.
Yeah. Oh, he was just I didn't watch him growing up. I actually didn't know him until I moved to his gym, or didn't watch him until I moved to his gym. But
Yeah.
it was a real quick learning curve.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of Dan, there was a video that came out where Dan was trying to wrestle you into the pool, and you needed some woman's help to help you get in the pool.
Yeah, there's one of my students, Mariah. She's little, I think she's 14 or 15. I had just thrown her in the pool, and she was
Nice.
dead. She was trying hard to get me back, and I just kept throwing her in. So Dan was helping her, and then they
Nice. So they had you around the waist and one leg, and it finally did it. It took like a
I
good minute and a
touched him
half to
too.
get you in. Yeah, yeah. You tossed them in.
Yeah, I beat that
So,
old
man, I'm
man.
going to let you go, but I really appreciate you spending the time with us. This has been awesome. One of the highlights for me. But we're looking forward to UFC Fight Night 131 this weekend. Sam Alvey is taking on John Vellante and at the Adirondack Bank Center in Utica. And all the best to you, man. I can't wait until after the fight to chat with you and congratulate you on hopefully another big win. And I appreciate it very much that you spent some time with us.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on, my friend.
No problem. The second time's a charm, right?
Yeah, second time's the charm.
All right, buddy. Thanks so much. Take care.
I will catch you later, my friend.
That way, Alvey. I promised you it would happen tonight. So I'm very happy that he was able to spend some time with us. That dude is one good dude, and he is fierce, man. He's got some big punches. I'm looking forward to his fight this weekend. That's right, Iron Mike Barnett wore Alvey, beat Harambe. Hopefully Sam wins and shows at 225. I'm looking forward to Sam and all he's going to do in the future at 205. But thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. My name is PJ from Essential Guy Talk. If you guys want to see any interviews in the future, please let me know, and I will do my best to reach out and get them on. And we've got a lot of good shows coming up soon. So I will talk to you guys later. Peace.